Welcome to the Nitpicking Nerds in the series that started it all, Commander Tune-Ups.
We're upgrading our patrons' Gwafa Hazid Profiteer deck right now.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you daily Magic content. If you like daily content, subscribe to the channel. If you like us, join us on Patreon. We'd love to have you. And if you want to buy cards, which you were going to do anyway, you can go to tcgplayer.com. There's a link in the description. Click it, navigate to the site, buy cards. We get a kickback, and you don't spend any extra money. But let's not waste any more time.
Yes.
Let's get the video.
The video today, well, it's a Commander Tune-Up. You know this. You've seen this. You're a fan of the channel. Everyone loves Commander Tune-Ups. But today it's Gwafa Hazid. A really weird name, strange to say. But before we do anything, first thing we have to do is read what he does.
Gwafa is 1 white-blue for a 2/2. Pay white-blue tap, put a bribery counter on target creature you don't control. Its controller draws a card. Creatures with bribery counters on them can't attack or block. Right, so the theme of the deck, it's kind of like a group hug Pillowfort. Gwafa wants to stop creatures from attacking and then give them a card. So you have to really move stuff around. They're going to like you because you gave them a card, but then they might not like you because the creature won't attack or block. And I got a couple things to cover before we actually get into the deck. This is a lower power level deck. Also, group hug, not the best strategy in Commander overall.
For winning.
That's the goal of this deck. So we're going to build the best darn Pillowfort group hug deck we can.
Yes. Again, this is for winning. We're talking about for winning. Pillowfort, group hug, they have fun aspects. That's fine. But we're talking about for winning, and we're trying to tune this up to win. I mean, when you send in the tune-up, we can't upgrade the fun because that's subjective.
Yeah,
so we have to upgrade the power, and that's what we did.
Yeah, so this game plan of this deck is to stack up extra draw effects and bring the game to a standstill, and then just win with a control finisher. We're going to slow things right down, and we're going to speed up card velocity, but slow down card deployment, and then just win with like 1 or 2 spells.
Yes, and so his restrictions for his deck, no budget, keep it thematic, keep it on the Pillowfort group hug type of thing. We did move a little bit away from that because we needed a way to win, and ultimately Pillowfort can't win and group hug can't win. Those just aren't winning strategies. They don't really incorporate much to win.
We didn't have to move at all. He had the control finishers already in there.
That's fair.
We just had to get how we can figure out how we Pillowfort.
Yeah, we configured how to Pillowfort a little differently. So we're just going to start with the new way we do this is we start with the best cards that are already in the deck. Mm-hmm. The cards that fit the game plan, that were already in there, that we're happy to have in the deck.
So first up, it's a whole list of cards. Kami of the Crescent Moon, a.k.a. Butt Cheek Boy, Howling Mine, Dictative Crewfix, Temple Bell, Walking Archive. All cards that say you draw an additional card, maybe more additional cards. Well of Knowledge, also a way to do that, except you draw more. So these are just going to get cards in everyone's hand, get cards out of libraries, games going faster.
Yeah, exactly. So these accelerate games super fast. If you've never played with these in the game, they're scary to play. Luckily, in this deck, we've put in ways to deal with that, because if you just start howling mining, it's a disadvantage. It is card disadvantage for you, which you have to understand.
Big time.
Yeah, you only draw 1 card off of whatever card you play, and each other player draws a card. So you're down 3-1, and you're already down 3 opponents to 1, so you can't really afford to be giving all your opponents so many resources. Don't worry, we handle that later.
Yeah, and it's not like all of the resources are going to be used against you, so it's not 3v1. Mm-hmm. It's just bad exchange. Having every player draw a card, no one plays those cards. But you have to, in a deck where you are going to play them, you're going to have to work around it. Another best card, Azor's Illocutors. This is one of the, I'm just going to sit here and then win the game. They get filibuster counters every turn, and you need 5 before you actually win. This is going to be tough to pull off.
It is incredibly hard to pull off. I mean, doesn't it lose filibuster counters if you take damage?
Yep.
It is a very hard to pull off, but it fits the strategy very well, and it's what we're trying to do. We're literally trying to be like, you stay over there.
Yeah, I mean, Gwafa's going to help. He can stop bribery counters, and we don't care. Kind of one of the sub-themes of this deck is, I don't care how many cards you have. My cards literally just say win the game on them, like the next one.
Like Approach the Second Sun. It is 7 mana. The first time you cast it, you gain 7 life and put it 7 from the top. And the next time you cast it, if it's from your hand, well, you're just going to win the game now.
Straight up. I just have to spend 1 card on either, whether it be Illocutors or Approach, and I just win. I don't have to do anything. So we can excel the game to where everyone's getting all these cards, all this stuff's flying around. I'm drawing a bunch of extra cards on my turn, and then I go, boom.
Boom. Approach the Second Sun, you're dead.
Or
we can just draw a whole deck, because this deck has a bajillion ways to draw extra cards, and we'll win with Thassa's Oracle. That's classic. Everyone knows that win con.
There's also Jace.
Jace, yeah, same type of thing. Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, same type of card. And then we have 2 courts. They give us the Monarchy. It's Court of Cunning, Court of Grace. Hopefully we can just prevent players from attacking us and taking the Monarchy from us, which is what we're going to do with Gwafa.
Or you give away the Monarchy. Something I've done before is you just give it away, and then you don't worry about it. They worry about it, and they attack each other because they want the Monarchy, and you just go, I don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of cards flying around. You might not need the extra card every turn.
Like, what's the difference? Are they going to draw 3 extra cards a turn or 4?
Yeah.
Maybe they might still fight over the 4th one.
Yeah. I really want that 4th card.
I want it!
So we're going into the adds and the cuts. We're going to talk about all the cards we added and all the cards we cut. And we're going to tell you why we did it. The original CMC of this deck was 3.31. We took it down to 3.25. It's not too much of a change.
Slight upgrade.
Very slight upgrade, yes. And 44 total changes. I think something to mention with this is it's not a strategy that we do and not a strategy we like. So making it our own type of deck took a lot of work for us.
44 is a lot, but we put our own spin on it. This is definitely a Nitpicking Nerds Pillowfort deck. If you're wondering what the heck that looks like, it's probably something like this.
Yeah, and it's a tough build. Like, we just, ultimately, unless we were told we had to build a Pillowfort deck, we would never build a Pillowfort deck.
Right, exactly. So let's get into the ads. So if I'm making a Pillowfort deck, now, there's only certain cards that I will put in a Pillowfort deck, and the goal is people can't attack you. You don't want people to attack you. You want to just sit there, and you want to build up for some determined amount of time until you hit your win condition. So rather than play cards that say you can't attack me, I'm going to play cards that de-incentivize you from attacking me. Or my removal is going to be on-board annoying things that say, hey, you can attack me, but look what I have. It's going to be much more valuable than, say, a Ghostly Prison.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to we cut the Ghostly Prison from this deck.
All 5 of them. Spoiler alert, they're gone.
Yeah, they're all gone. We honestly do, like, when we talk about cards, we're not just like saying it to be controversial. We honestly believe you shouldn't have that card in any deck, and that you can do the strategy without playing these cards that don't necessarily do enough, in our opinion.
Yeah, this is a Pillowfort deck, and we're still cutting those cards because they're just blank pieces of cardboard. Here's some of the removal we put instead. Aura of Silence is 1 white. It's going to stick around until you need to destroy something, and it's a full-on tax for every artifact or enchantment. They're not storming off. They're not multi-spelling. They're not doing anything without paying way too much mana for it. And then if they try to blow this up or they attack you and you want to send a message, you just blow up their best thing.
Yeah, exactly. Having this on board is super annoying because you know that at any point you can't play out your best artifacts because, 1, you have to pay extra, and 2, it's just gonna die. You can't play out your Bolas' Citadel. You play your Bolas' Citadel, you pay 8 for it, and then they blow it up.
Yeah, and I'll take Threat of Activation over giving them a choice / making them want to attack me more. It's like, hey, you can attack me, but I have the Aura of Silence. What do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly. You can play a political game with it, and that allows you to do Pillowforty things. Yes. Next, Swords to Plowshare. This wasn't in the deck. I mean, this just goes in almost every white deck for me. It's hard auto-include for me, personally.
We need instant speed interaction to hold up to protect our stuff. Keep ourselves in the game. This is just one of the best ways to do it. Same with Heliod's Intervention. We might even use the life gain if we're getting beat up.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I love, like, cards like Swords to Plowshare. We get to just be like, I do have a sword in my hand. I will sword your guy. Just don't attack me. I'll leave it. I don't care about it then.
Yeah, and Heliod's Intervention, just a 7 for 1 or whatever you need, gain 14 life sometimes. It's just going to do it. It's one of the best white cards.
Yeah, I love the game.
Literally.
I love when decks can take advantage of the game life. Like a deck like this that can potentially fall to damage to, like, quick attacks, like, really early. The game life just gets this huge boost, and it makes this card that much better.
Yeah, Arcane Denial, totally on theme. You can draw 2 cards. It's a drop in the ocean, my friend. I do not care. And I'll take 1 back as a bonus. Mystic Confluence is amazing. It's going to stop anything coming at you. It can just stop. Creatures, bounce. They're already attacking, bounce. On the stack, counter it. You got nothing to do, draw 3 cards.
Yeah, Evacuation. Oh my god, I really like this card for this deck. It's just, you don't care about having that many creatures on the board. You just care about stopping creatures from attacking, and this is a reset. Oh my goodness, Evacuation is a good Magic card in the right deck. In this is the right deck.
It's going to be really close to Destroy All Creatures, except you get Gwafa back in your hand, so you can deploy him right away and then start bribing people. I like that they can't refuse the bribe also.
Also, another thing about Evacuation that is really strong in this kind of deck, there's so much. They're drawing so many cards. When you evacuate, people are going to be discarding lots of cards.
Those creatures are gone. Like, they're not coming back because they drew something better or they drew something different, or they're going to have to discard, or they just can't deploy the same amount of spells, or they're going to have to redeploy their mana rocks from something else. Evacuation's great. And then Soul Snare fits right into that Aura of Silence. It's not even that good of a card, but I took a little bit of a hit on like versatility, number of things it can hit. It's like only exiles things that are coming at me. Don't come at me. It's just implied.
Yeah, exactly. The Mana Compass. I really like this one. This takes us into another category of like we're talking about ramp, but also it fits in the category of
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Yeah, the Mana Compass it flips in the maze of it. That's what matters. It helps shoot your land drops. It does all that stuff, and it's ramp.
Yep.
But in the end, what we really want is that Maze of Ith on the other side. We love playing this card over Maze of Ith because one, you can hold it until it's late game, and then you play it and it flips right away. That's one way to do it, or it can help your land drops early.
I mean, unlike Maze of Ith, it has text for the first 5 turns of the game.
Unlike Maze of Ith, it's versatile. Maze of Ith is very linear and does the same thing.
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't tap for mana. It's like you need to be attacked. And this one's like,
Exactly.
No, here, have a land drop. Draw a card. Oh, you got enough lands? All right. Now it's a land that taps for mana and also Maze of Ith.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. The versatility in this card is what makes us play it over Maze of Ith. This deck, like, if this card didn't exist, we'd consider Maze of Ith in this deck. But this card does exist.
So no,
yeah. But unfortunately, we don't live in the world where the Mana Compass doesn't exist.
Yes. Wayfarer's Bubble, just your staple non-green ramp card.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting there. Walking Atlas is nice because we're drawing so many extra cards. It lets us play 2 lands per turn every turn, almost without a doubt.
Yeah, and Mind Stone, just another. This is a solid 2-mana rock.
We needed to fill out some ramp slots, and this pretty much does it.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going into, what is this category?
This is like group hug card draw, where everybody's going to get to draw cards, or it's going to fit right into our game plan. I mean, you'll see this first one. Standstill. Oh, yeah. This is what we want to be doing. 1 on a blue for an enchantment. Whenever someone casts the next spell, you can sacrifice Standstill, and then all of the person's opponents draw 3.
So here's the play. The absolute best. This deck is going to love this play. You just go evacuation end of someone's turn, standstill on, play a spell or 2, standstill on your turn. You're good.
Yes.
You're going to feel amazing because you're going to be in this position where if there's no creatures on the board. You got rid of them all. Now if they want to deploy more creatures, they have to crack the standstill, which draws you 3 cards, and you feel great. You don't care that everyone else is drawing cards too.
No, they feel bad to do it. They're like, they all draw 3. I'm just not going to do anything. And we have so many activated abilities on not only Gwafa, who's just like, okay, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card. There's Gwafa, and then there's a bunch of lands and enchantments and other things that just kind of sit out like Aura of Silence, and then they'll be removed something later. And we don't have to cast any spells. We just don't have to do anything.
Exactly.
That's not the plan. We need to cast 1 or 2 spells later, not now.
Exactly. And like another thing is, if the board's not that clogged, when you throw out the standstill and you have Gwafa on the board, okay, now Gwafa is just stopping you from being attacked. Okay,
Yep.
you can just keep doing it, Gwafa activation every turn until the standstill's gone. If everyone at the table is playing that game and not cracking it, you're going to benefit the most because your Gwafa is just going to keep making them draw cards, which is going to make them discard eventually,
Yep.
and stopping everything from attacking you.
It's sort of like a trap. They should just play a spell right away, but I don't think that's how it's going to play out. And if it is just 2 mana, each player other than one of your opponents draws 3, that card's amazing. That's what exactly we would just play that.
Yeah, that card is, exactly, because we're a group hug deck, and we don't mind giving away all those extra resources.
Because we're just going to say, I win. I don't care what the board looks like. This card says, I win the game. Next is Fate Spinner. Each opponent has to skip either their main phases, their draw step, or their combat. This card's really weird. I think most of the time, combat gets skipped because you can't skip your main phase. Then you can't play lands or creatures.
I like this card. This is the card. This is it. You want the 1-for-1, get the propaganda out of my deck. This is it. This is absolutely it. And like, I understand that people get the redirecting thing, but you're stopping so much combat. If they're not drawing sometimes they might not draw a card. That might be a problem in this deck.
Well, so if we're talking about in general, Fate Spinner gets better outside of this deck. It's still okay in this deck.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly.
In general, they're going to skip combat in most games. This game, they might skip draw step. We're cool with that.
Yeah, this card is really cool. I'm a big fan of this card, and I wish there was more decks for it. There's not really a ton of homes for it, but I do like it.
It is a really sweet one. Words of Wisdom just says you draw 2 and everybody else draws 1. All right, just a nice little cantrip. We want to play a high density instance, which you'll see later. And this is my favorite card in the deck. Forced Fruition. I love this card. 4 blue for an enchantment. It just reads like a fever dream. I don't know what this card is supposed to be. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, they draw 7 cards. Not a May.
I also love this card. It's so silly.
It's great. Your days are numbered. How many spells can you cast? I make you draw this many, and if you've got 20 cards in your deck, you can only cast 2 more spells, and then you lose.
Yeah, exactly. This will make you lose fast. This
is a weak edition.
It is.
If we have a counterspell backup, and we're doing the other things that we're doing, one of the main things we're saving for last, there's no getting out of this.
Exactly. Yeah, they go. Okay, I'll remove blank. Okay, I'll counter it. Now you draw 7 more. Sure, try and remove it again. That you've drawn 14 cards. Sure, it starts adding up so quickly to a death.
It does, and then other people are doing it, and it just gets real weird real fast. Last one, Decra Mystic. It just pays a blue. You can have everybody either draw a card or mill one. Just a nice activated ability to have out when we're not going to be casting spells, or when the board's just going to be in that zone that we want where nothing's really happening, but everybody's hands are hot fire.
Yes. What a weird card. That is that card I've never put in a deck, I don't think.
No, it's cool though.
It is.
It's a really unique card.
It belongs in this deck. It's cool with this deck. It's just one of those cards like, have I ever? Nope, I've never touched that card in my life.
Plus, there's like if somebody reveals a game buster, we're like, oh shoot, we lose. You just mill. Just have everybody mill it.
Yeah, classic.
Helps get you closer to approach the second sun.
Ooh, so much. Next, for the last piece of the ads here, we got our taxing type pieces or Staxy pieces. First, Mystic Remora. This wasn't in the deck. It fits with the deck perfectly. If you're giving everyone a ton of extra resources and a ton of extra spells to cast, well, why not tax them on those extra spells that they're casting?
Plus, we can pay for this almost, depending on what the board state is, we can pay for this for a long time because there's going to be these games where, Standstill's out, or we got all these extra cards and one of our secret to be named cards is out. We'll just pay the cumulative upkeep, tap out for it. It doesn't matter some of the time. Some other sort of general cards. There's just 3 Teferis in this deck. You want to rattle off the Teferis?
Yeah, we got Teferi, who is the Master of Time. That card's great. I mean, we've talked about it way too much to even talk about it now.
I mean, Gwafa's locking down creatures. Teferi's +4ing every turn cycle. You're going to win with this card.
Yeah, exactly. Teferi, the Time Raveler, who prevents players from casting instants. This works well with some other cards that we're going to get to. It'll be really brutal. Like, there is a specific reason for this. It goes with other cards that is just...
They're coming.
They're coming. And same thing with Teferi, Mage of Zhalfir, who just prevents his instant things. But why do you want to do that? Oh, we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Mirage Mirror. This is a sweet mana sink that I'm so glad I thought of it, as I wasn't really seeing it anywhere else. It copies a creature, enchantment, artifact, or land, so our mana sink can just be, I'll take the best static ability in play. And sometimes there's some good static abilities in play. Like, I guess, Hull Breacher is one. 3 mana for a 3/2 with flash. If they would draw extra cards, you get treasure instead. This is kind of a one-off, because I know we're group hugging and making everybody draw cards. This is a one card where it's like, if we're doing that, you don't get, this is going to be miserable for you. You're going to hate this and you're going to lose real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Like your every single upkeep, you just get a treasure so every upkeep you get a treasure, and that's it.
Yep. What if Howling Mind said you draw an extra card and then you get a treasure every upkeep?
Is that card good?
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, Hull Breacher's insane. There isn't really that much of like this Staxy stuff, but we put a couple Staxy things.
Yeah, I mean we got Hull Breacher. So let's get to the real
Staxy stuff.
The real. Maybe. The way I see it, if you're trying to do Pillowfort and Group Hug and then somehow also win with a control finisher, you're going to need these effects. They are the Rule of Law effects. It says players can only cast 1 spell each turn. That's all fine with us. We got activated abilities up the rear end, and they're going to have too much stuff to know what to do with. And if they play a spell that matters, they'll just counter it.
Yeah. So that's exactly what these decks do. So I'm just going to rattle them off. They'll all be on screen for you real quick. Deafening Silence, Aethersworn Canonist, Arcane Laboratory, Arcane of Emeria, Eidolon of Rhetoric, and Rule of Law. These are all, there's slight variations on the same thing. Players can only cast 1 spell per turn.
Yep, and we're very happy to go, when the time comes, either maybe our filibuster guys are already out, then we're just going to sit here. We don't have to do anything. We're just going to Gwafa your best creature every turn, and you're never going to get an attack through. We're going to have Gwafa, some kind of Maze of It, maybe a Soul Snare. It's like, what do you want to do? I'm just going to sit here. It's cool.
Exactly. That's what our deck is trying to do. It's just trying to sit there. And the whole thing with why the Teferis are here, preventing them from casting instants, this is so good for us. We get to go, If you have a Teferi, which prevents them from casting things instant speed, and this, they get one spell a turn cycle.
A whole turn cycle, while we can still cast 4 with our instants and make them draw even more cards. The real spikes is when you stack 2 of these, and you you have to play Rule of Law and then pass, and then maybe interact, maybe not. And then when it gets back to your turn, your one spell is just another one. So now a player would have to spend their whole turn to answer one of these and then cast no other spells because the other one's still in play. Yeah. I don't know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, it'd be miserable.
And if you have a Mirage Mirror, you can just copy it too to shut them down. Even like if you only have one and a Mirage Mirror, you go, okay, in response, waste the rest of your turn.
Yeah, because I want to point out something. Pillowfort is quote unquote nice stacks.
It is. It's a form of stacks. You're stopping some aspect of the game. We're just doing it better than Ghostly Prison can.
Yeah, exactly. I really think that Pillowfort is a nice way of saying, not to be mean, but bad stacks. That's how I feel about Pillowfort.
Maybe it's like the socially acceptable stacks, and I don't think this stacks is that bad. We're gonna wrap up the game pretty quick. Maybe there'll be like 5 weird turns, and then we're just gonna put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, exactly. And moving on, lands, the last thing that we added to this deck. I'm just gonna go. We had 5 MDFCs. I'll list them. We're not gonna go into too much detail on lands.
They're all great.
Yes, Shijiri Shelter, Salindi Vision, Seagate Restoration, Amiria's Call, Ondu Inversion, all great MDFCs. For color fixing lands, Glacial Fortress we added, the Buddy Land, that card's great. Nimbus Maze, the weird one from Future Sight. Hengate Pathway, which is a pathway. Those are very good.
Yeah, and now ways to spend mana when we've locked down the game and want to advance ourselves when nobody else can. Yeah, there's a bunch. Miko Koro, everybody draws a card, totally on theme. Gaia Reach Sanitarium, everybody draws discards, just get us deeper in the library. Myriad Landscape is just ramp cracks. It's amazing. Core Haven is another way to fog and deter attackers. It also taps for mana. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Oh, we just named some pretty good enchantments. How about if you waste your whole turn to answer it, and then I just get it back and play it again? How about that? Does that sound like something you want to engage in?
No, it doesn't at all. Kyron's Bastion, we're going to proliferate. We can...
The filibusters. That's the only reason. I don't know if there's anything else, but we can proliferate bribery counters, which don't do anything.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And filibuster counters.
The bribery counter is the greatest thing ever. It does nothing. It does nothing to have 2 bribery counters on it, but it's great that we can just bribe them again.
Here's the thing. If we put enough bribery counters on their creatures, it's going to block out the text box.
They won't see it.
Right, like, no, I want you to put 8 bribery. There's 8. We can't misrepresent, and then they're not going to read their cards.
Yeah, exactly. So this is all about getting, what is it called when you...
Oh, man.
When you take when you're being mean to get points.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
Hold on.
Angle shooting. Engaging in actions that may technically be within the scope of the rules of the game, but that are considered unethical or unfair to exploit or take advantage of another player.
And lastly, Castle Vantris and Castle Ardenvale. Just nice ways to spend mana. Ardenvale, if you really need to pay 5 mana to fog one creature, you totally can. And before we get to the cuts, I just want to add, now this is obviously made for a certain meta, where you can argue that Ghostly Prison and these are good in metas where you're stopping attacking. So let me, just to try to clarify that this deck isn't trying to be scummy and stacksy in the traditional sense, because we're not stopping them from casting spells, we're just limiting the amount of spells they can cast. This is like if, let's say you have a meta that is all about combat. It's just a 100% combat win condition meta. If you stack up 3 Ghostly Prisons or, a Sphere of Safety where you have 8 enchantments, they're hard locked out of the game. They can't win. So there's really no difference from that, which we think is bad strategy, to this, which is just you can cast 1 spell. It's just not going to matter.
Yeah, honestly. So just these first cuts, if you're in a heavy combat meta and you don't play outside that meta, keep these in. But if you...
No one does that. I think almost no one...
I agree. But some people do. There are
it's not even 1%, just to be clear.
Yes, there are players who play only within a play group, and if that is the case and that play group is attacked, leave in your cards cut, Ghostly Prison, Propaganda, Norn's Annex, Sphere of Safety, and Bard, whatever his name is, Steward of Argive.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to nitpick a little bit even more. Just never play Norn's Annex. It is 2 steps worse than even Ghostly Prison. They don't even have to pay mana. They can just pay 2 life in a 40 life format. You're not deterring anything. I might just do it just to show you. You didn't save anything. Take 6, I'll take 2.
That is completely fair, yeah. So these other ones, besides Norn's Annex, if you're in that attack meta and you don't really leave your meta, okay, keep them in. Otherwise, but we're building for the overall meta of EDH, which we don't think they're good in.
It's extremely rare for Ghostly Prison to be good. And I'm just going to, So much easier to be shorthand and say it's unplayable. So the next, Aiden had the right idea. He had Thassa's Ire, which is just an enchantment that says 3 and a blue, tap a creature. It's a good mana sink, but we just cut it because we put in better mana sinks.
Yeah, that's just it's okay. Yeah, Thassa's Ire isn't bad. It's
kind of bad. We just have better ways to sink.
Yeah, okay. It's not okay. What I meant was it's not unplayable, but we can just do better. We can upgrade this card, and that's what the whole point of this series is. We're gonna do that.
Totally. What else?
In Inscription of Insight, I don't think this card's very good. It's
sorcery.
It's like 8 mana to kick it. No. Also, Beezy thought this was an instant for the whole duration of Zendikar Limited.
I cheated and cast it as an instant once. No one even noticed, which only reinforced my thinking it was an instant. But now that I know it's a sorcery, it's never going to make a commander deck. Mask of Avacyn. We don't need Gwafa to have hexproof. It's not that big of a deal. He'll be okay. Elixir of Immortality. We don't really want to shuffle our deck back in. Jawari Disruption. We have better MDFCs.
Yeah, why are we shuffling our deck back in? If we have Thassa's Oracle, it goes against the whole idea of the deck. Like, all right, we want to get to know cards and then win, but we don't want to get to know cards then shuffle them all back in because now our Thassa's Oracle sucks again.
Yeah, I have no interest in that. So Lazotep Plating, don't need the protection. We just have counter spells instead. Teferi Timebender, too expensive. We got the cheaper, other more annoying Teferis.
Yeah, we upgraded Teferis directly.
We tripled the number of Teferis in this deck.
Yeah, and turned them all into the better Teferis because this Teferi, though it has cool art, you stop there because that's full stop all this card has.
Oh, yeah. Cut Plea for Guidance, cut Ebony Owl Natsuke. There's just not enough Ebony Owls to make a whole thing around.
So with Ebony Owl, it's like this, Black Vice, there's 2. We can't really build enough toward that. If there was like 5 more of these, sure, we can go for a deck around it. Like, okay, putting cards into our opponent's hand, that could be a whole strategy, but not quite enough for us to quite want to do it.
It's close because if there's that, you can cut the Approach Second Sun, Filibuster guys, and Thassa's Oracle and just do that. Very reliably. Hannah Ship's Navigator. I like it. Heliod's Generosity. It's just a land slot. It's the same card. We don't have to waste, we don't have to put it on a vulnerable creature.
Exactly. Yeah, just put it in your land slot instead of on a creature. Silence. This isn't really a combo deck. We're not really looking to do that. I understand the feel and that it does fit the like taxi thing we're doing kind of, but it only stops 1 player for 1 turn. Just not interested.
No, it would be kind of funny if you have a Arcane Laboratory to just silence them. Like, whatever it was going to be, it's nothing, but I don't think it's worth a card.
Staff of Domination is a fine card.
It's a mana sink.
It's a completely fine card. It's a fine mana sink. I only want this if I do have infinites. I think it's a medium card. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, you could put it in a deck. But again, as soon as we start upgrading, I'm out of it. I'm done with this card.
Same with Umbral Mantle. It lets you Gwafa a lot of times. We don't need a Gwafa a lot of times. Planar Cleansing, Absorb, saw coming. We just upgraded them.
Yeah, Planar Cleansing. I think if you're going to play Planar Cleansing, never. Just get the new card in there. I'm going to play that one every time over Devastating Mastery.
I mean, I'm going to play Hour of Revelation over Devastating Mastery, so you got some hoops to jump through before that. Hoofprints of the Stag. We don't want creatures. Mirror Maid, kind of cool. I just thought Mirage Mirror was better. Perpetual Timepiece. We don't need to mill anymore. I just don't think we need that as much. Asperia. I love this card so much, but like, just think it didn't end up making enough sense.
I don't think it makes sense in the deck. That's all there is to it. It's when you get attacked, you draw a card. Okay, but we're already stopping people from attacking us, stopping creatures from attacking.
We're drawing so many cards.
This card, Asperia, is the best Ghostly Prison effect. It does
that type of thing. Yeah.
It basically says no one can attack you. Like, seriously, nobody is going to attack you when you have this card out because there's way too much advantage to be got.
It's also a 6/4.
Yeah, it's a 6/4. It dies.
Some creatures run into it. I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true too. It's also a great blocker. Like anything with three or less power just can't attack through it. That's my problem with this card. It's just nobody's going to attack into you while it's out.
Well, not in this deck. That's why I think I would cut Ghostly Prison from this deck anyway. We're already so much better at it than Ghostly Prison could ever hope to be. Laboratory Maniac is the last cut. Just didn't need we have 2 ways to do this. We don't need 3 because we're not going that hard.
Yes. And we're not really going to go over the lands.
Just read them off.
Yeah, I'll do a quick read off. These are the ones we cut from the deck. New Benalia, Memorial of Genius, Azoria's Guildgate, Tranquil Cove, Sajiri Refuge. You might realize something here. These are a lot of tap lands. Calciform Pools, Secluded Stop with the tap lands, my friend. Too many. Blasted Landscape, Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds. We could just upgrade those, and then we cut
3 islands and 5 plains.
Yeah, easy cuts on the lands.
That's all right.
Yeah, we turned the basics into good lands, and we cut too many tap lands. Your tap lands need to be MDFCs. That's where your tap lands need to be at.
That's where they're at. This deck has like 30 lands in it now and 5 MDFCs, so 35 lands total if you want to round up like that. I think this deck came out great. I really like the change. I'm glad because we had never thought about how we'd make a Pillowfort deck before, but we have the innovation, at least for this deck, to go, hey, let's just stop them from doing everything. They can cast one spell a turn. I hope it's great because we're going to run them over.
Yeah, this deck is cool. Not a deck I would play. I'll be completely honest with you. Not something I would play or build. But I'm not the only one who plays Magic, and I'm not the only way to enjoy Magic. So if you want to play something different that you won't see the nerds playing, check this deck out.
Yes, thanks Aiden for submitting the deck and being a patron.
Yes, thank you for being a patron. And speaking of patrons, special shout outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can, without making you uncomfortable. And something I want to mention, this is just a random, it's actually kind of like a little tidbit in pre-tidbit. Yesterday, when I was doing the patrons for the video on Monday, 2 people literally became patrons seconds after I finished editing the patron cam. Like, they gotta wait till tomorrow to get in. They gotta wait. It was Landon. I was get a quick shout out. Yeah, Landon and Shirtless Pumpkin.
Yeah.
We thought the name was good because how many pumpkins are wearing shirts?
I don't know. It's hard to say. TCG player link in the description. Click it, navigate to the site, buy the cards you'd buy anyway. So no extra cost for you. But wait, extra benefit for us? What? Are you kidding me?
Oh, you absolutely got me. You made me laugh there. You like to switch up how you do the TCG player thing?
If I'm not switching it up, then I'm just become a boring, lifeless husk of a person trying to sell products with no regard for anyone else.
Yes. And actually, I don't even like. I already know the tidbit. I already know.
Okay, that's great.
Easiest.
Just tell them about the Discord.
Oh yeah, I gotta tell you about Discord. There's a Discord. Join it. Play EDH there. We're becoming one of the bigger servers for playing EDH. We're not gigantic. We're not the biggest server ever. I'm not bragging, but it's cool. And I love that we've become a place where you can play EDH. We haven't had many issues at all.
Any issues? We had 5 games firing off yesterday, the whole day.
I made 2 more. On the weekends it's always super crowded. We're up to 8 EDH game channels because I just want to make sure everyone has room to play.
They can be filled. So just think about at any given moment, we might have 8 games going on. So I think you'll be able to find somebody.
And we had a Spellbot yesterday.
I'm sure that's great.
It helps you find games with Spell Table.
All right, so what's the tidbit?
The tidbit is amazing. We're probably not going to do it, but it's hilarious. We've made it. We made it big time. It's official. Like, we thought we've been growing and doing great. This is the measure. We know this is the measure of made it.
Yes.
Raid Shadow Legends sent us an email yesterday offering us a deal, and there's almost no chance we're going to take it. I literally was thinking about it. I was on the toilet today thinking about, like, what would they have to do to take it? They'd have to, one, let us joke about it, which they're not going to do. They'd have to give us more money than they're willing to pay. They're not going
to do that.
They're not going to do that. I'm guaranteeing that whatever our price is more than they want to pay. The only way we'd ever do it is if they let us make a joke about it. It's a meme.
It has to be our personalities and our channel. I'm not just going to take a 30-second break to talk about, like, buying watches or something. Like, especially if it's not related to Magic. I'm really hesitant to as much as we need to make a living, very hesitant to burden the people watching this video thousands of times over with, do you like watches? Because I use this watch every day. It changed my life. Like, I don't use watches.
I will also enjoy, I came up with, like, the way to do it. It'd be so funny. Like,
okay,
if we were
pitch me the Magical Christmas Land Nitpicking nerds.
We make like a joke about it, like we act fake, super excited, like over the top, me and you.
Okay.
Then you go and you grab a script and you read the whole script. You put glasses on to do the classic, like.
Ooh, I do have glasses.
Yeah, like you're gonna read the script and then you cut and then you do the stupid ad. That's the actual ad after that, and then you come back and you're putting down the papers and finishing reading it, and we go back to the video. Like, I thought, like, if they let us do that, I'm in for that, because we get to make it our own personality, be dumb, have fun with it. We don't have to even insult Raid Shadow Legends, but we get to make it. Why would we? It's great. Everyone loves Raid Shadow Legends. It's a great RPG that everyone should get into.
Look, everyone's talking about it, so it must be great.
All right, but that is our tidbit. BZ was up at like 4 yesterday. I'm like, are you up? He's like, why?
4 a.m. That's when they emailed us.
Yeah, 4 a.m. Professional email times. 4 a.m.
No, we're never going to get the sponsorship.
So BZ, I'm like, are you up? He's like, yeah, why? I'm like, We made it. He's like, what do you mean? Raid Shadow Legends!
I got that email and I thought it was nothing, so I just swiped up and didn't read it.
I always read those emails, and I was super happy.
We're done here.
Yeah, we
This
are.
video is so over.
I'm just having too much fun. Peace out, Tribe Scout.